Hey, what's going on, guys? Once again, it is Coach Grizzle back here with you for another edition of Talkin' Sports with Coach. Thank you so much for everybody stopping by today. We're going to dive into a little bit of XFL talk for the latest games today. We're also going to talk the NFL Combine that's going on. So let's just kind of go into it right now. I appreciate everybody coming in right here on Mixer. Make sure you check us out, mixer.com/Coach Grizzle. Hit up the Discord, hit up the Twitter, social, all that stuff, man. Just hit us up and reach out to us. If you want to ask questions, you can ask questions throughout the chat. So just hang out with us and get your questions into Allan, and I'm sure he'll have a good time doing it. So without further ado, once again, I will say this. We've got Allan Bell Jr. here with us once again. Man, Allan, thank you so much for joining us. What's going on, man? Good morning.
Man, you had me on, buddy. Not a whole lot, man.
Yeah, dude, sorry we couldn't get with you last week. I understand a lot of people are busy nowadays, and I'm sure he's working a mile away, he's a mile a minute, and I'm sure that it's cool, man. We understand. We hung out for like an hour and a half, a little bit longer than usual last week, man. I just couldn't get off. It was just having too much fun.
I like it, dude. You got something great going here, man. Great fans, great host, dude. You crushed it, man.
Appreciate it so much. So let's get straight into talking about what's going on in the Underwear Olympics, as a lot of people like to call it. For let's say the first day, what were some of the positive things you saw out of a lot of the wide receivers?
Yeah, so I think that going into it, we knew that this was going to be a pretty heavy class. And I think they showed out, right? Like, if you look at the guys at the top, Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, basically Alabama's starting offense. You know what I mean? Like, they all looked, sharp. And, Ruggs, obviously, he lived up to the hype in terms of his speed. But, you go down the list, you see, like a Jefferson from LSU, a Juwan Jennings,
Yeah.
Tennessee, who's a guy that, I find pretty interesting because, he's obviously at the wide receiver position per se. But, we saw him do a multitude of things, lining up at a quarterback in a wildcat position. It's a guy who, was originally recruited, at least out of high school as a quarterback. He's played defense, in the secondary. So, I thought that it was good. Good start, and really, I think the entire combine has gone to show that this really is going to be just one of the deeper drafts that we've had in a while.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of good quarterbacks. You got a lot of good wideouts in this draft as well. This seems like, I feel like this wideout class is like very, very deep. I feel like it's a lot deeper than last year. I feel like you can really find a lot of talent in the draft. Especially this year when it comes to wideouts, like teams like Philly obviously needs a wide receiver. I would say something like the Bills maybe need a wide receiver as well to kind of help Josh Allen out a little bit. They got the run game, they got the offensive line, they got the defense. They just need a wide receiver, seems like. And it's just one of those things where what do you feel that who do you feel like that's going to be? That seems like they're doing a little bit better in coming into this draft. Jerry Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb?
Man, great question. Probably, all right, so I think if you go off overall, just kind of hype, you're gonna go with CeeDee Lamb. But I think if, what coaches and GMs are gonna look at is really consistency. And this is nothing against CeeDee Lamb at all because he's a phenomenal wide receiver. But Jerry Jeudy is exactly what his tape says that he is, right? Like, there is no variance between him being, pretty much all year, wide receiver one, so to say, and, the guy is just consistent. Like, he shows up, you're drafting exactly what you think you're going to get and what you hope to get. So, while both of them are going to do well, I think the fans will end up saying CeeDee Lamb. I think the NFL team will end up saying Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I feel like, and with Jerry Jeudy, man, I've said this since day one, and he said it himself. I mean, he can play outside, he can play inside. This is a guy that you're going to want anywhere on the field, and that's why I feel like a lot of coaches don't do it a lot of times nowadays is when you got like a guy like Julio Jones or Hopkins or, just somebody along the lines of like a high caliber wide receiver, why not move him around? Why not use him to the point where it's like I get it, you're always maybe going to get that top corner on him, or you're always going to get that top secondary guy on him, the fastest fastest guy or the most athletic guy or whatever, the guy that's tall enough to hang with him. But I feel like at the end of the day, it's like if you look at it, I would just have him everywhere because I always want to look for the mismatch. And maybe I just do it too many times on Madden. You know what I mean? Where I put Julio Jones at that second wide receiver, and he gets a linebacker on him. Now, we're not going to get a linebacker on Julio Jones, even if we wanted to. But those two types of receivers, I just feel like, even CeeDee Lamb, I just feel like he's even a threat. You could put him anywhere on the field. He's long, he's strong, he's fast, he's quick. I mean, that's the thing about the one thing I think he's better at. His release is better than Jerry Jeudy's because I feel like Jerry Jeudy kind of has to he's got to kind of accelerate a little bit more because he doesn't have that kind of top speed.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And it's funny, talking about that. Yesterday I was talking to a friend of mine, Blaine Bishop, who was the safety for the Titans for a long, long time, and we were talking about wide receivers and about specifically Michael Irvin's comment. There are no 4-3 guys in the Hall of Fame, and while that's pretty accurate, so to say, even though we really didn't have time, before 2000.
Yeah.
I asked Blaine, who was an all-pro safety, in the NFL for a long time. I was like, what's the hardest, most difficult, wide receiver type, to play in coverage, and he laughed and said, pretty much what you said about Jeudy. He was like, the top end speed guys. He was like, you could give yourself a step. He's like, you could adjust to that. He's like, the big body guys. He's like, while it's tough, you could go up and play the ball. You could adjust to things like that. But a guy like Jerry Jeudy, and he used the example of Derek Mason. Who played in the NFL wide receiver for a long time.
Yeah.
Those two similar body types to where, they can seemingly do everything well. They can run well. They can run routes. They can catch everything. They're, yak gods. They're going to get, those yards after catch. He was like, those are the most difficult. He's like, because you cannot give up an inch. And once they catch the ball, buddy, you better be in the right spot or they are going to burn you. And that's what we saw, from Jerry Jeudy seemingly all year. He can, take the top off in defense, or he can take a 6-yard slant to the house. So I think NFL teams, will look at that. But again, we're probably dicing onions here because both of them are going to be, both of them are going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
And Ruggs, Ruggs is obviously, he's got his own skill set too. So yeah, long story short, man, this is going to be a really fun NFL draft, specifically in the first round for wide receivers.
Well, speaking of speedy wideouts, what about Ruggs? I mean, what do we think? What do we think about him when it comes to a typical wide receiver? Do we think that he's mainly going to be a returner guy, or could you see him definitely being kind of like an Emmanuel Sanders type player? He didn't necessarily beat the top speed like he wanted. But a 4.27 is a 4.27. I mean, that's cheetah-like. That's cheetah-like. You know what I mean? So, do you think he could be like a Tyreek Hill type of player, or do you think he's like more prone to being a returner?
Oh no, I absolutely he could be a Tyreek Hill type player. And you know what? And this is going off of your last question. It kind of bleeds into this one as well.
Yeah.
Specifically with Ruggs. So a lot of what it comes down to is the team and the coaching staff that you really go to and how creative they can be on offense, right? So if you look at you were talking about Julio Jones, right?
Right.
So back when they had a Kyle Shanahan as an offensive coordinator. Kyle Shanahan is as creative offensively as it gets, right? Him, Sean McVay, they all come from the same type of mentality to where they can move Julio around. They like you get you put Ruggs with a Shanahan in San Francisco. You put him with an Andy Reid in Kansas City. He's your Tyreek Hill right there because the guy can do so many things. I could see if he goes to the right offensive system. I could see Ruggs doing a lot of the misdirection that Tyreek Hill does in the backfield, right? Like you can almost line him up kind of as an H-back type player. So that's the hard part with the draft is that there's so many different systems, schemes, philosophies that some coaches do things well. In Atlanta, obviously, you got Dan Quinn, who's a defensive guy, right? So I mean, it all depends on kind of where you go. But yeah, I mean, long story short, Ruggs is going to be phenomenal. That kid, man, he is so talented. so fast, and that's what, you know, in the NFL, let's be honest, man, like speed can kill, and speed does a lot of things. That's why the Chiefs, you know, are so dangerous these last 2 years, because they have speed everywhere.
Yeah, without a doubt. So let's kind of switch it over to quarterbacks. We talked enough about wide receivers. So we have a great list of quarterbacks as well coming into this draft. We feel like that, you know, I feel like anybody that gets like, you know, the general top three, Tua, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, you know, maybe the fourth technically with Jalen Hurts, but out of those four quarterbacks, I think you're still going to get basically your franchise quarterback that you want, that you're looking for, especially if you're looking at that type of quarterback. What are we looking too much in to Jalen Hurts being one of the fastest quarterbacks other than Cole McDonald out of Hawaii? But do you honestly feel like that he could jump over a Herbert or you know, I know he's going to jump over like someone like Jake Fromm, but he's definitely not going to jump over the big three. Am I right?
No, you're probably right. Like, you know, with quarterbacks, it generally goes exactly how we think it's going to go, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have, you know, Burrow's going to go, you know, first, you know, and then, you know, Herbert, you know, somebody.
You couldn't see Tua over Burrow?
Well, maybe. That would depend on the team. Now, Tua Tagovailoa, let me say this. He is the ultimate wild card in all
Yeah.
this. Now, obviously, you know, you could say, you know, with, you know, his health, things like that, like that's kind of, you know, a determining factor, but everything says that, you know, that Tua is going to be completely fine. Like, I mean, he's ahead of the game, you know, in terms of all that. I think with Burrow, with Cincinnati, you know, with, you know, how that season went down for LSU, it's going to be one of those things of like Zion and John Morant,
Yeah.
you know, to where, you know, Morant could end up being the better player, and certainly by, you know, right now,
Yeah.
it looks like it. It was one of those things to where if you've got the number one overall pick and you pass on, you know, the guy, quote unquote, and he becomes who everyone thinks he is, well, you're ridiculed for 20 years. So I think it's one of those things to where teams don't really want to take that risk, especially at that position. But let me say this. Tua Tagovailoa could be phenomenal. I mean, that guy is, you know, arguably the best quarterback Alabama's ever had. And look at the quarterbacks that have come to this.
Yeah.
Thing. So, you know, I think it's going to kind of go how we think it is. Here's the question mark, and you brought it up. Jalen Hurts, and let me say this, man, as an outsider looking in, okay, I'm not an Alabama fan, not an Oklahoma fan, but, you know, I'm just saying, but I've watched, you know, every single one of the guys' games.
Yeah.
Like, Jalen Hurts could go out, win 2 Super Bowls back-to-back, you know, and crush it in the NFL, and people are still questioning what this guy can do. Like, I don't understand it at all, and that's why I love, like, how, you know, last year, like, Alabama and Oklahoma fans, like, kind of came together, like, you know, against the world, like, yeah, this guy's good. Like, what are you guys complaining about? Like, Jalen Hurts can play, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like the kid a lot, and I'm really interested to see how, you know, the progression in terms of the conversation from the combine to the draft goes, because, you know, everybody has him like pegged as like an automatic like backup quarterback, and while that may be just because there's a huge quarterback free agency class as well this year that they have to contend with,
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts dude can play, and somebody might really hit a home run, you know, drafting him, you know, late first, second, you know, however, you know, if he seems to fall. Dude, that guy's good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I can't wait to see how that goes.
Completely agree with you. I really think he is a NFL quarterback. I do believe that he can. I feel like as an athlete, especially, you're only going to work better at your craft. And I know he gets ridiculed a lot of times, overthrown balls. He's not as accurate as Kyler Murray, clearly. You know, but coming out of Oklahoma, playing under a better offensive scheme, I feel like, and even as a professional athlete, I feel like he's smart, he's determined. I honestly feel like he'll have the highest Wonderlic out of all of them. I don't know what he got or whenever they're going to do it, but I've already said to Tom on the Tom Abraham show on the radio, I feel like he's going to have the highest score out of the three. That's just me. He may have the hand size, but, you know, I mean, I think he's going to have the Wonderlic as well. So, you know, but if there was one, yeah, and okay, so I hear a lot about Jordan Love out of Utah State. Don't know really much about him. Haven't really paid attention to him too much. Other than him, who is a quarterback that you feel like out of this draft really kind of maybe, you know, raised an eyebrow and you think might actually could be a starter here, maybe next year or this year or the following year?
It's a great question, you know, and to be honest with you, I don't know if there is one.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say it is this, because, We were talking about this, on Sports 180 in Knoxville the other day, that exact same question. And here's the hard part, is that if you look at the NFL right now, okay, there has never been a more deep time at the position of quarterback than there is now. Look at what free agency is going to do. All right, so you're going to have guys like Marcus Mariota. He's won a Heisman.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston. I think he won a Heisman, right?
Yeah.
Jameis did? Yeah. Like, both of those guys are going to be backup quarterbacks. You've got Jarrett Stidham in New England, who's going to be a backup quarterback. Okay?
Yeah.
You've got Andy Dalton, who's going to be a backup quarterback. You've got to find a place for Phillip Rivers, which means Jacoby Brissett could be a backup quarterback. Like, there are so many quarterbacks right now in the NFL. It's crazy because we've never had this depth before. So, not to sidestep your question, I'm just saying I don't know if there's going to be. And it's really where, you look at guys like Jalen Hurts to where, he might get drafted by a really good team. And you know what? I'll say this. I'm going to put this out there right now, and I don't know if anybody's talked about it, but if they haven't, I'm going to circle my name around this. You know who I think would be perfect to draft Jalen Hurts? The Green Bay Packers. Because at some point, Aaron Rodgers is 35, 36 years old.
Yeah.
Right? This is about the time where they drafted Aaron Rodgers when they had Brett Favre. They're going to need a solid person at the quarterback position. Not that Jalen Hurts is going to come in and start over Aaron Rodgers by any means. But in the next couple of years, we're going to be talking about Aaron Rodgers and the kind of the finality of his career. And there would be no one better for smart, intelligent Matt LaFleur offense than Jalen Hurts. So if nobody said that one, I'm wrapping my name around it. I think that would be a phenomenal choice for them.
Well, you heard it right here. I really hope that he does, so I can just rub it into my buddy's face, because he's not the biggest Alabama fan in the world, but it would be amazing if Jalen Hurts went to the Packers. Honestly, it would be amazing if Jalen Hurts went to the Falcons.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not even biased. That's not even biased as a Falcons fan. I would just like to see a guy that is a proven 4-year quarterback in college, or a guy that's a journeyman basically in college, that's been there, that knows a pro style system, and could immediately jump right in there behind Matt Ryan. Because like you said, Aaron Rodgers is 36 years old. Matt Ryan's 35, 36 years old, about the same age. So maybe probably a little bit younger, 34, I think he is. But I'm afraid of him half the time when I watch Matt Ryan go out there. He doesn't perform the same as he used to. And I just think that, there's a guy like that you could definitely get out of that, and I think that would be very positive. Now, one more quarterback question before we kind of move on. I know we were only into 2 days, and we still got more today. We got, yesterday had running backs, offensive line, special teams, and now we're going to get all our edge rushers and linebackers and defensive linemen. So we'll still wait for those results and everything like that. But one more quarterback question I was going to ask. Do you feel like, he did transfer, do you feel like Jacob Eason will get drafted higher than Jake Fromm?
Ooh, that's a great question. It could happen. I think with those two guys, you have, this is the way that teams are going to look at them. Interesting name, high value, in terms of, where they come from, how, valuable and how, popular type guys that they've been. Done some good things, done some not so good things. I think, the combine is going to, obviously, it's going to, be a big thing for them, but it's also going to be how do the interviews go? How do they feel about how those guys, break down film? I mean, they're going to be, kind of a, 3A, 3B, whatever, the case may be. So I think you asked one of the best questions out there. It's probably going to come down to just personal fit, and it could be, seemingly, where those quote-unquote personal fit teams are in the order of the draft, if that makes sense.
Yeah. All right, so we'll move on to tight ends. It's absolutely crazy. This Albert, I'm not even going to say his last name because I'm going to screw it up. The guy from Missouri, guy runs a freaking 4.49 as a tight end. Is that something that we need to be looking at? He's 6'5", 258 pounds, but is this something that we need to be looking at, or is this kind of just, is he just kind of more of a flashy, fast guy?
No, I mean, I think it's absolutely something to look at, because if you look at the NFL, man, like, it's all about, dynamic offenses. And what you have, as a play caller and as, a scheme overall. And if you have a tight end, who checks boxes that a lot of others don't, again, it gets down to, who you have, creatively, lining up schemes and lining up players. I mean, there are teams that can do dangerous things. That would be a great fit for somebody like Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. That'd be a great fit for somebody like Drew Brees in New Orleans, right? Where you have not only a dynamic quarterback, but you have an offensive skilled, head coach and play caller who can get creative and has a quarterback smart enough and athletic enough, to really utilize the, kind of scope of weapons. So, I think anybody that has a trait that is not necessarily, generalized to that position, those are people, not only in football, but in life, that find themselves with the best opportunity because they're just different, right? So you look at him and you look at, what's his name, Thaddeus Moss, in LSU, who's not necessarily that same, body type and skill set, but a guy who's just, head and shoulders kind of different than everybody else. So, that's going to be certainly exciting to see how that, how that particular draft pick plays.
Yeah, so moving on to running backs, to get a little bit of running back talk. I heard Tom was saying something, behind, away from the show. He was saying something like DeAndre Swift, for instance, could possibly get drafted by the Titans, of all people. Now, is Dion Lewis, is his contract up?
No, but his time is up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you feel like that, with all the rumblings around the Titans, the Titans might get Brady, they might not get Brady, and we know they're going to re-sign Derrick Henry. They got rid of Mariota, obviously. They didn't want him anymore. Do you feel like that they could go running back early in the draft? Do they have a first round pick?
Yeah. The first round is the 29th pick overall.
Okay.
I can absolutely see the Titans going that high with the running back, and I'll tell you why. So you look at what the Titans have in terms of their free agents. They have 20 free agents that they've got to figure out. So not only do they have, guys like Jack Conklin, the starting right tackle, Logan Ryan, starting quarterback, right? But here's the thing: the two big ones are Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry. Okay. Yeah. So that's your starting quarterback, your starting running back. But the interesting part is this: is that they also have to figure out their backup quarterback and backup running back. So they've got to essentially get two quarterbacks, two running backs. Now, they're not going to have the money to do all that because they've got, like we said, pieces, elsewhere that they need to take care of too. So I can absolutely see, a DeAndre Swift, a J.K. Dobbins, you know what I mean? Like somebody
this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
A dynamic, fit that can give the Titans, just a more look at that position because, you look at Derrick Henry, he's not going to take a lot of passes, in the backfield. He's not necessarily even a third down back. And that's nothing against Derrick Henry. Just for some reason, pass blocking really isn't his forte. So Derrick Henry, really didn't have much insurance at the backup running back position. The last few years, Dion Lewis just really didn't fit. So, long story short, absolutely, I can definitely see the Titans doing it because they've got to use the draft in low-cost options to fill some pretty big holes. They don't have a lot of holes, but they've got a couple.
So I know a lot of people will say, you can always find a running back in the draft, and you're sitting here telling me that, you want to see like a guy maybe like J.K. Dobbins, which he didn't run the 40. We don't know how technically fast he is. He may do it in the pro day. I don't know. But with a guy like Jonathan Taylor out of Wisconsin, I think if he can hold on to the ball, he might be the best running back in the draft.
Yeah, he could be. And you did nail it right there in terms of fumbles. It's certainly something that that NFL teams get scared about. However, what the guy has shown, and not only it wasn't like it was a 1-year flash in the pan. This guy's been fantastic. For years now. So, that's certainly a guy who could fit multiple schemes of running the football. You can see him in, Chicago. Yeah. You can see him, the versatile, San Francisco 49ers, right? This is a guy who, he's a running back. He is a prototypical NFL running back. And those guys tend to get a lot of love, especially when you look at teams who, might be moving on from, high-priced talent like, Los Angeles Chargers, with Melvin Gordon, might be out after this year. So, that's a guy who certainly, he could fall in that mold of RB1, if that makes sense.
All right, so one more question going into the draft, or coming out of the draft, and then we'll kind of switch gears to XFL, and then we'll kind of wrap it up with that, since we've got a great list of games, I guess, today and tomorrow. Michael Turk out of Arizona State, 25 reps at 225. How many times can you do 225? I mean, I'm tiny, so I can only do maybe not half of one, not even one with help.
If you asked me a couple of years ago, dude, I can rep 225 in a decent amount of time. It's not going to be in that number at all.
But a punter.
Like, those guys, when those guys start throwing that up, dude, it's amazing. Exactly right. Like what you just said. I mean, it's phenomenal to see, at that position, a guy that's strong. Because, dude, 225 ain't light.
No, not at all. Like I mean, I think when I was trying to play a little ball back in the day, it was like I think I got maybe it like once or twice. But if you look at me, I'm a pretty tiny guy, so it's like good luck. But I mean, like just to even be able to try it, just be able to like pound a punter to be able to pound 25. Some linemen can't even pound 25 out. So I mean, it's ridiculous,
Kevin Durant couldn't do one.
Well, what was it? The Browns, they drafted what's his name out of LSU? Grady. Yeah, they drafted him. He couldn't even do any of them. And you're gonna draft that guy in the first round?
I know, dude. 225 ain't light, bro.
No, not at all. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, Jake Fromm over here at a quarterback is running about as fast as some of these linemen out here, though. That's got to be kind of depressing, though.
Right.
So I want to ask you one more. If there's one competition in the draft that you would do and you feel like you would do really well, what would be it? Would it be the bench press, the vertical jump, the broad jump, your 3-cone drill, or 20-yard shuffle, or a 60-yard shuffle? What do you think you could, or your 40 time?
Dude, I'm a 3-cone guy for sure, man.
Yes.
I've got a little bit of lateral speed and cut a little bit. That's certainly where I would go, because I'm not going to be a Henry Ruggs out here. Like, I don't think I would run an awful 40 time by any means, but there's just so many dudes that are just so lightning fast that even if you end up with like a 4.7, right, which is blazing, which I don't think people realize how fast that is. It looks slow because you've got guys, like Ruggs putting in a 4.27.
Yeah.
And so many guys in the 4 range. So, yeah, definitely put me on that 3-cone, man.
Well, I know, like, when I was in high school, I ran a 4.7. But that was, like, when I was a junior, I think. And I had no business running that 4.7. I'm going to tell you that right now. I bet you now with my bum knee, it's probably a 5 flat. I'm probably as fast as Jake Fromm.
Well, let me say this, man. Like, for anybody listening who hasn't ran the 40, like, dude, a 4.7 is good.
Yeah.
Like, a 4.7 is solid. Like, that is not slow. But that goes exactly what I was just talking about. Like, it feels and looks like it's slow comparatively because there's so many dudes who are like, track guys, who could just run people out of the building.
So we got a couple people in here. Ratley's enjoying the talk. Jersey Kua is back. I think he was here 2 weeks ago when you were here. He says this wrestling talk with Coach. First time, long time here. No, this isn't wrestling talk. But if you wanted to get into wrestling talk, I don't know if Allan Bell's into that kind of thing. I'm sure I could like dabble a little bit, but I don't really watch it that much anymore. He said, what do you think of Goldberg coming back and getting over the Fiend this week? I'll hang up and listen to your response. This isn't the Paul Feinbaum show. Okay, stop it.
All right, so my man Goldberg, right? So he's been doing it for a minute now. The question that I ask is the Fiend. So they kind of worked his promo over a few times now. Like, how do we feel about that and about him? But man, I mean, Goldberg's gonna come out, dude, with the traps that are up to his ears and above. Like, dude's just gonna be in phenomenal shape. But yeah, that's right. That's the biggest question for me. Is how the kind of rebranding, and the new, not promo is not the right word, but, just the rebranding of him as a whole, whether it's going over positively or negatively.
Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of paying attention to it a little bit. I did see that, and I'm a guy that grew up in, like, loving the heyday of wrestling, WCW. Even when it was what was it called? The Extreme ECW, ECW, all that stuff. Like, I mean, I enjoyed a lot of the older stuff, especially Goldberg. One of my favorite movies is Ready to Rumble. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
Dude, that's probably one of my David Arquette, and I forgot what the other guy's name is, but that's probably one of my favorite movies ever. Just pertaining to wrestling, especially. But I get it. Like, these guys are ginormous. Goldberg's probably in his mid-50s, I'm sure now, but he's still a freaking beast. I met Scott Steiner one time at a wrestling tournament about a decade ago, about 10 years ago. It was my senior year in high school, and I met Scott Steiner one time, and that dude was jacked, and then like 2 years later, I'm in a fraternity, and I'm doing like I think it was an ECW event, or it was like some smaller wrestling event or whatever at the VBC, and Scott Steiner was actually there. And I mean, this dude was like in his late 50s, early 60s, sitting there throwing guys around, and still big as anything. I mean, he's got muscle. This is a guy that's got muscles on top of muscles. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I couldn't look anything like Scott Steiner.
No, not at all, dude. I would need some PEDs for that, bro.
yeah, but he's really not, like, if you meet him outside of wrestling, like, he's an asshole in the wrestling room, like, because he's always like he always seemed like he had a mean character, or like he was like a dick in a way. But that guy, you meet that guy in person, he is the nicest person. He'll talk to you. He'll try to help you out. Like, I remember when it was just a bunch of us wrestlers. I mean, he was like hanging out with us. You know what I mean? Yeah, Papa Pump, exactly. Like, he was really cool. Like, it was actually a really cool experience, because I've always watched him, and he's always kind of been like a mean guy, or like the bad guy or whatever. But like, I guess that's just like his character, his persona, and that's just what was really cool, was he was able to like kind of hang out and help us out, and it was just a lot of cool. It was just a really cool experience, because you never would have thought of seeing a professional wrestler just kind of like walk into your wrestling tournament in the middle of like Cherokee, Georgia, So
not at all. I love that. I love that he's cool, man. Especially if you play, if you kind of play to the heel side, for your career. And the guy's legit. I like that a lot, man.
And Ratley says Mankind is the best of all the times. Yes, Mankind is a great wrestler. I did enjoy watching him wrestle a lot of times. That's a guy that put his body through a lot of pain. And I don't think I ever could be able to take barbed wire bats and falling on razor wire and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I don't think I can get hit with glass. I don't think I could do that.
Oh, dude, Mankind took more bumps than anybody. You know what I mean? Like, dude, Mankind catches Jack. I mean, you go down the list, dude. That guy put it on the line, and I've heard that he's a phenomenal human being as well.
I've also heard that same thing as well. So, enough of the wrestling talk. Let's kind of move on to the XFL talk, like we were going to say, because there's still stuff going on. We still got sports. We still got football. I mean, I want to hear your perspective, because I don't know if we really got to talk too much about the XFL last time. Do you enjoy the product?
Yeah, I do. I think the product is solid. I like that they're not trying to be the NFL, because you're not going to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I like that they're going about it their own way. I like the kickoff rule. We're looking at around 90% of kickoffs that are taken back, where you compare that to the NFL, it's about 32 to 36%.
Wow.
Somewhere around there. So you've got a safer, version of it, and there's more action with it, right? So I like that a lot. Here's where the XFL really has got to start really digging in. You're gonna have kind of that new car smell. It tapers off after a while, right? And I think that they're getting to a point where that's going to be realized here in the next couple weeks. So what you have to do is you have to really start marketing this product, so that it can stand on its own two legs. It's not just a new football thing, where people are tuning in like, hey, what's this? Hey, like, people are actually tuning in for specific teams, for specific games. And understand, they're only 3 weeks in, right? These things take time. The NFL's had 80 years to do this, right? Like, they need more than 3 weeks. But I think they're doing a good job, and I think the key is going to be really marketing these teams for how they play. So, if you've got a DC Defenders, who are really, defensive laden, like use that. Like, go about it. Get some ads out there. It doesn't have to be, huge, ESPN primetime commercials, but,
Yeah.
get some, YouTube ads. Get some, any kind of e-commerce ads that you can get. And I think once they start doing that and it starts hitting home, I think it's really going to take off. But yeah, let me say, they've got a good product. They're doing solid, and they can continue to do it.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited.
Yeah, completely agree with you, man. I think it's a good product. I like the interviews. I think it's a lot better than how it used to be. I like to get the emotion out of it. Tom Luganbill, I talked to him last week and asked him a question. When they benched McGloin 2 weeks ago in that game, I asked Tom Luganbill. I said, that's how it always is, isn't it? Like, you always have players and people that'll act all hard and really throw people under the bus. I'm like, that's how it is in the NFL too, isn't it? And he was like, yeah. He's like, that's exactly how it is. He's like, that's just not, you're not listening to it. It's not there in front of you like the XFL. And I get that. I understand that. I worked plenty of arena ball games and watched as prima donnas, diva quarterbacks. It's all the same. I feel like it kind of grows out of college a little bit like that. It's like if you're like this top quarterback or whatever, and it just doesn't work out for you, you have to go play a smaller league or whatever. You're gonna be kind of mad, and you're gonna kind of vent your frustration a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's big time football, right? But,
Yeah.
And with that, not only is it big time football, but you're talking about an emotionally charged sport. Like
Yeah.
you're going to get that. Aggression levels have to be high just to play the game. So there's no way that you could be that focused, that on point, that aggressive, and then turn it off immediately. Like it's impossible. No one can do that. That's why a guy like Tua, who is just so calm and relaxed all the time, teams are going to fall in love with that. But no, I mean, yeah, like Luganbill nailed it right there. Like that's the difference is that you just don't see it.
Yeah.
It's good. Like that stuff is good for the XFL. Like give access that the NFL doesn't give.
Exactly.
Give the the consumer, give them things that they don't get to see. I hope the XFL continues to do that because that's where they'll win for sure.
All right, so let's get your picks on these games, and then we'll get you out of here. All right, so we'll make it quick. Today, 2 o'clock Eastern time, you got the LA Wildcats at the Guardians. I kind of picked the Guardians as my team early on. I'm kind of rotating a little bit to the St. Louis Battlehawks a little bit because I love the fan base. I love football being back in St. Louis, and I just love seeing. I just like that team in general. I think they just have an all-around good team. But the LA Wildcats came out and just absolutely destroyed the Defenders last week. And the Defenders and the Roughnecks were kind of two of those teams that like you thought were going to be the cream of the crop, which the Roughnecks kind of are, being the only undefeated team. But the LA Wildcats just came out and just absolutely made them look awful. And they're playing the Guardians, who looked absolutely awful against the Battlehawks. So, I mean, and I heard that now Quentin Flowers from the Vipers wants to come over. He wants to get traded or he wants to be released so he can go over to the Guardians. Who do you got in this game? I really like the Wildcats in this game.
Yeah, give me Los Angeles for sure.
And it's just crazy with all the rumblings around that. I mean, we'll just kind of have to see what's going on. I'm not too big on. I don't really know too much about the LA team. I like their uniforms. I kind of just we're gonna go with them against the Guardians. The Guardians just look absolutely awful, especially if Matt McGloin is the quarterback. I really like Marquise Williams. I really think that he was a good quarterback coming out of North Carolina. I feel like he just never really got a chance in the NFL, and hopefully, maybe we can see him back again. But yeah, I would take Wildcats over Guardians, and I don't see a line on here. There's usually a line on here, but I don't know what.
I think it's 7 Los Angeles, which is wild because you're looking at such a large spread for a team that's going from Los Angeles to New York.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Going across the country, and you're still holding, a 7-point, favorite.
Which is crazy because I really thought maybe LA and Seattle might have been one of the two worst teams in the league, other than Tampa, because I don't know. I just feel like anything coming out of Tampa Bay is just not a good product anytime. Like I just feel like, especially right now with the everything that's going on with the Buccaneers and everything like that, I just feel like any product out of Tampa Bay is just absolute just terrible, except for the Lightning. The Lightning are really good in hockey, but yeah, it's on ESPN they have LA as an 8-point favorite. And that'll be on ABC. That's at 2 o'clock. That's on ABC. Okay, so later today, at 5 o'clock Eastern Time on Fox, we've got the Seattle Dragons versus the St. Louis Battlehawks. The Battlehawks have the most expensive tickets out of any team in the XFL. And they pack house, seems like. Well, they pack the lower bowl, I should say. I mean, so does DC. DC plays in a soccer stadium that probably holds about 18,000, 20,000 at least. And Houston and Dallas, and Houston, Dallas. I think New York play and Tampa Bay too. They actually play in bigger stadiums than Seattle, LA, DC, stuff like that. Who you got out of this? I really like the Dragons. They look like UAB. I like their logo, but I am pulling with this. I'm going with the Ole Miss product, Jordan Ta'amu, and the Battlehawks.
Yeah, Battlehawks for sure. I think the line's somewhere like 12 and a half, somewhere, and you nailed it. The Battlehawks have that home field advantage, and plus they're just playing good football.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm totally with you. Like, and especially, I think last week the Battlehawks ran back the XFL kickoff for a touchdown. And then Seattle, who, we kind of thought, I think they're sitting 1-2. Thought we're going to be a little bit better. They got doubled up last week. So, yeah, give me the Battlehawks.
I just like, yeah, no problem, Jersey. I just like in general how a lot of these teams are 1 in whatever. Like you got the Vipers who are 0-3. They're obviously the worst team in the XFL. But I can see where, like, if they got, the thing is they got Trestman as their head coach. Okay, let's just say that right now. Mark Trestman is a terrible head coach. He is a great offensive coordinator, but you are an awful head coach, and you just do not get players to play. I feel like out of all the coaches, he is the least flamboyant coach, and he is just one of those coaches that you just, like, when you go into a practice, you're like, I don't really want to be here. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a practice under Mark Trestman is not a fun practice.
Let me say this. I remember plenty of stories when he was the head coach of the Chicago Bears, where he would address the team from the back of the room, where they're not looking at him. Like, he's an odd guy.
Yeah.
He's certainly as intelligent, but yeah, I mean, he's not gonna inspire a ton of confidence in a team. And I'm with you. Like, there's a reason why they're the worst team.
Yeah, without a doubt. So Roughnecks tomorrow are playing the Renegades at Renegades. It's on FS1. Houston's a 3-point favorite. I feel like Dallas has won a couple of games. I get that. They're heavily reliable on their run game because I don't think Landry Jones is that great of a quarterback. That's just me. I think he's got great zip on the ball. I think he's got a great strong arm. I think his decision-making is absolutely awful. This is the reason why he's not the Pittsburgh backup anymore. That's why he's not in the league anymore. And I feel like the guy on the other side of the ball, P.J. Walker, should be in the league and should be playing somewhere. And the things that he's doing, he's the leading quarterback in the XFL. I mean, what do you see out of this game? I think Roughnecks might run all over him or throw all over him.
I'm Roughnecks for sure, for a lot of the reasons which you just listed. Like, Jay Walker probably ended up being, the MVP of the league, right? And I'm with you on Landry Jones. I've never liked. I don't want to say never liked him. I just didn't like his game,
Yeah.
And he hasn't inspired any confidence whatsoever, And I think one thing that plays into kind of that initial thought process is all the hype, that was put behind the Dallas team coming into the season. They were. The team run away with the championship. They've got Bob Stoops, all that. And then come to find out, no, buddy, like, this is still a game of football. You got to line up and do it. So,
yeah.
I'm going, I'm Roughnecks for sure on this.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I like about the Renegades, I think they actually have a good running game. I feel like with Cameron Artis-Payne, I always feel like he was a great compliment back. Cameron Artis-Payne. I just feel like because he was playing at Tampa Bay, you just didn't get to see enough of him. And
especially watching him in this league. Yeah, I mean, he'll bounce it outside, man, and take it for a touchdown. And you'll see him kind of look around. And he's like, oh, yeah, I can do this all day.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing? Yeah, I'll get you 2-3 touchdowns a game.
And I just think it's with an overflux of running backs in the NFL. Like I said, you can find running backs a dime a dozen. I feel like a guy like that, if he's not really a standout guy, then he's going to get overlooked because there's a lot of good running backs that are kind of, messing around in the draft and messing around that are in free agency and stuff like that. And, like you're saying, we got all these quarterbacks that are in free agency. We got a lot of running backs that are going to be hitting the free agent market as well. I feel like the Falcons, I really hope they let him walk or they try to get something for Devontae Freeman, because I feel like there's plenty of backups coming in the near future that could be starters. If Ito Smith can stay healthy for the Falcons, I would really like to see him as the starting running back, along with like Quadri Allison or Brian Hill, whoever comes out of those two guys. But like I said, you could just find the top, like Atlanta could get a J.K. Dobbins, you know what I mean, the next year if he kind of falls in the draft or whatever, or this year if he falls in the draft or whatever. So like I said, there's a lot of good running back talent. You got the guy out of, what was that? San Diego State, a couple years ago, Penny. So I mean, you got a guy like that who, there's a lot. You could always just find a running back that you just never think will come out of the draft, and it's just crazy. You just never know. There's always something. There's always wealth somewhere.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially in that position, guys are going to teams are going to take chances on that. So exactly.
So we'll move on to the last one. We'll get you out of here. Let's see. Of course, we got Defenders and Vipers. I'm not even going to talk about the Vipers. They're absolute ass. We've already talked about them. The Defenders are going to run all over them. They're going to throw all over them. They're going to do everything. Who knows? But the Defenders could come out flat like they did last week. So, what do you got in this game?
Maybe this is our big upset of the week.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, I would love to see it. At home, Vipers, yeah. I would love to see it, though.
Yeah. I think the league would like to see it because, exactly that, you want to have, one or two teams that just completely fall behind everybody else. You want to have good games. So, we'll see. But, yeah, I mean, I'm certainly going to ride the Defenders.
Heck yeah.
At least if I'm pitching.
Heck yeah. Well, man, I greatly appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much. Sorry we couldn't get with you last week. Hopefully we can get you on many more in the next couple coming weeks. And I'm really trying to get more people. I've actually reached out to a couple more people to try to see if they will get on with me. And it seems like some positive some reviews. So hopefully we'll have more than just getting you on here, wasting your Saturday morning. You know what I mean? And but like we said before, like I appreciate you getting on with us and being able to talk with us, because it seems like we've got enough backing on Mixer to really keep this thing rolling. Seems like a lot of people enjoy listening to you. And I know why they wouldn't. I mean, man, you do a great job. I tell people all the time on the radio, dude, I really like listening to you, and I really like being able to talk with you a lot of times before the show, because I feel like we kind of relate on this, we're kind of on the same page, the same level, and I really like having you as a friend, my man.
Oh, dude, hey, same here, man. And let me tell you, dude, I love coming on the show. Love talking with you. Love talking to the audience. I love to bring them into it as well, because that's where, usually, that's where you get great questions of anything. You know what I mean? Whether it's football or it's the best, wing sauce at Buffalo Wild Wings. Like, talk about anything. You know what I mean? Like, I love it. So, dude, thank you so much again, man, for having me on. I'm always down anytime that you'll allow me to come in. So, yeah, just let me know anytime, bro.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. And one more thing, Nashville SC or Atlanta United?
I gotta be Nashville SC, baby. First game. Atlanta, obviously, they've won a title for sure. I just hope that they have a good rowdy crowd out there tonight, because I know a lot of people in Nashville are really, really excited.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I really think FC Cincinnati last year, when it was their inaugural game, I think they came out and won that first game against the Atlanta United. So I really hope that, they will win this game. Nashville will come out and maybe just make it a tie too. And it really gained that love, that fan base and everything like that have really grown over the years since. Because I think and Tom said it too on the show, it's like when the Titans went to the Super Bowl, the second year that they were in there, that's how like the fan base really just kind of stayed with it. They were winning. It was positive. It was something good. So hopefully, the soccer team can do the same thing.
Yeah, I agree with you, my man.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much. You have a good rest of your day, buddy, okay?
Hey, you too, buddy. Take care, man. Thank you.
All right, you too. See you, bud. All right. What up, Steele? How you doing, bud? I'm gonna take a break for a second, and I'll be back in just a few minutes. That was Allan Bell Jr. from 24/7 Sports. We talked the NFL Combine, XFL. He talked soccer, and we talked wrestling as well. So it was pretty sweet, man. It was good. So it's okay, Steele. I'll be back in just like, give me like 10-15 minutes. I'll be right back, okay? But I'm gonna sign out. See you guys later. Make sure that you're checking us out on Twitter, Coach Grizzle TV. I'm gonna change to some either GTA or Battlefield here in a second. So probably some GTA, but I'll play Battlefield tonight. We'll play Battlefield tonight. You know that, sir. So we'll be right back. Be right back, everybody.